Hi, Bo here from High Tech Investment, and in this video we're going to talk about Solar Farm. This is the second video, and in the first one we actually did the introduction to Solar Farm and with a bit of how-to and how to get started, what was behind the Solar Farm itself. Since then things have moved quite quickly, so we have now seen a new version of Solar Farm. The old one is still very much alive, so it is still running, and I will show you exactly that. But the developers has decided to go with version 2.0 because there was a lack on a couple of things. So in order to misuse the system, so they have put this in place, and instead of just scrapping the first version, they are simply running both of them at the same time, and you are still getting good profits and the same profits, 14.28. But the two systems have similarities, and then they have things that are quite different. So this is an introduction to version 2.0, but it's also a tutorial on how these things are different, how you can basically enjoy the most benefits out of this, and what you need to be careful of. So because there is a couple of penalties if you are misusing the system, the developers has put that into place, and that's what we're going to go through. So let's get started. So this is the original Solar Farm that we sent out just a few weeks ago. So when we had a look through it, and this is what we now call version 1. So bringing the casino to the Metaverse, and all these things are definitely still coming. There's no changes on that section. It's simply just a matter of setting up the contracts in a bit of a different way to make sure that people are actually compounding and not pumping and dumping so through the system, that what version 1 basically had some issues with, and where people couldn't really see the benefits of it as they were getting in, buying, rebuying, and still the values of the solar panels were going down. So let's have a look and exactly see what version 2 brings to the table. So we divided this tutorial up into 6 sections for you here. So the first one is the fresh value. The fresh value is actually the money that you put into the Solar Farm system. And the second part that we're going to go through is the sales system for the version 2.0. Then the very important Solar Guide fairness system, which is one that's supposed to equalize part of the income and basically the rewards from people that are having a lot of B&B in there and people that just have a few, similar to what we have put in. Then we're going to have a look at the compounding system for the version 2, which is also fairly different. The dynamics deflationary supply system, which is basically a way for the developers to monitor and change anything which is no longer working optimum. They can do that as part of the new contract here too. And then we're going to look at the launch information at the end, and obviously also the platform itself. So the first part is the fresh value, as I mentioned, and the fresh value is basically the setup, the money that you are putting into the system, and it's also highlighted here in yellow. And you can see here we put 2 B&B in, and for that we actually got, or 2.01, and for that we actually got 2010 panels. Since then we compounded, so that's why you'll see the numbers is a bit bigger. And then it all depends on obviously the price for the solar token, and it also relies on the growing TVL, the TVL being the token value locked within the system for the mining. Then we have the sales system for the version 2. And now you have fractional selling, basically allows you to sell just a portion of it, and that comes into play. When you have the blue line down here, you can also see there's a 100% mark, and it runs in increments of 1%, so you can sell 50%, which is only set for, and then you can compound the rest. And then you can, obviously you don't have to take it out straight away, you can keep it in there. But basically should make it easier, so that is anyway the developer's idea here, that you can synchronize together with other features as we're going to talk about here. So for the anti-dump, the anti-spam, and the anti-abuse that we're going to go through. And part of that is the system here is the Solar Guide fairness system. So the first part that we're going to see here, is the anti-dump. So where if you sell an amount greater than or equal to your fresh value at once, they will receive a 50% tax or 10% panel reduction penalty. And again, that means here that if you go in and you sell more than 2 BNB or just over 2.01, then you will have a tax, and that is the dump abuse that you see at the bottom down here. So just be aware of some of these items that have been put into place. The second part is the anti-spam. So if a user attempts to sell without compounding 15 times as minimum between each sell, they will receive a 75% tax and 5% panel reduction penalty. And again, the Solar Guide penalty lines, always have a look at them because they could change over time. That is the prerogative of the developers here. And you have a counter on the other platform here also, basically saying now we have compounded 7 times. So you don't have to go into details on that yourself. It will be on the platform. The last part here is the base abuse. So once, if you sell over 5 times your fresh value, you'll receive a 50% penalty to the amount of your withdrawal here. And that is the base abuse that you find down here. On top of that, you obviously still have your fresh value, and then you have your allowance. And that's the allowance that then provides you what it is. As you can see, ours is a bit more than the 5, and obviously there's a couple of things that goes into this allowance also. So if you are using your sign up referral, then obviously that goes into play also, and that will help you expand your allowance over time. Exactly how much that will be on the percentage wise, we haven't been told that yet. Then we have the Solar Guide fairness system. So an anti-outsider, which is the Solar Farm version 2, user will only receive your full referral rewards for deposits if they are investors. So now what does that mean? That basically means that you can have your referral link, you can be set up, but not necessarily have invested. So it comes back to your fresh value. So very important, you have to be an investor in the new system, not the same way in version 1. Compounding system of version 2. So yes, it's a bit more complicated, but still very, very easy. And obviously the platform also keeps you under control. So basically shows you how many times you've done it, and provides you also with the details on the bonus part. So every compounding users make up to 30 compoundings, the user will enhance their compounding bonus. And that means that for every 3 times, you will then get an additional bonus of 1.5%. So you have your initial one for the 14.28. And when you have done the first 3, you will then have a compounding bonus of 1.3%. When you get to 6, you will then have 3%. And then will go up all the way to 15%. So if you compound the 30 times. And you can see that on the side over here. So the counter itself says we've done this 7 times. The bonus tier is 2, and we ended up in tier 2 after we compounded 6 times. And then you have a total bonus, which is 2 times the 1.5%. And that means that once the counter reach 9, that means we are going into tier 3. And that means that 4.5% will be added on top of the 14.28% also. So definitely they are trying to make sure that people are compounding. And then if you then decide to sell, then obviously it will reset back to 0. So it's a reasonable way of making sure that people are compounding and not taking out the money too often. The next part is the compounding cooldown time, and basically they have made a bit of a gap in between, and the gap is 1.5 hours. So that means that you can get your 1.5%, so you have to do 3 compoundings first, and that obviously takes minimum 4.5 hours. So again, what is shown here is very easy. So on the cooldown status, you will have an open in the green as you see here. Then when you go in and do the compounding itself, then the cooldown status will start over again, and it will count down from 1 hour and 13 minutes into another cooldown status, you can go in and you can then compound or do another update. Then we have the dynamic deflationary supply system, and basically it comes into what I explained before, that this is a couple of basically rules that has been set in by the developers here, so on how to control and manage the levels, and they can change that at any given time. So the buying part, the selling and the compounding is currently like this, but obviously it can change over time. Now going into the platform itself, so this is the landing page for the app Solar Farm Finance, and what you then do here is you have your landing page, you have your tokens where you can go in and see the price of the tokens, and then you have the miner version 1 and miner version 2. So if we just have a quick look at the version 1 first, you'll then see that the platform is similar to the video I sent out a couple of weeks ago. So you still have the total value locked in here currently under, this is under the version 1 system here. So the panels owned, and then you have your compounding and your selling part here. Your buying part is down here. So everything is still running, everything is still up, and you can see the daily rewards is currently at 20%. So, and then your compounding statistics, also depending on how many times you go in and compound a day. Here you don't have any minimum times as you have on the version 2. So version 2 looks slightly different, so but still very familiar. You have the total value locked in here, so at the moment that is slowly but surely rising. Then you have the exchange rate, so for the pounds against the BNB, you have your return on your investment, the 14.28, and then yearly 5,214%. Your compounding bonus, as we discussed, 1.5% before. The max bonus of 15 you get, and the current grid maintenance fee is at 6%. Solar card penalties, well, the base abuse, dump abuse, and spam abuse down here, you can see what they are currently. Top of this, your farm statistics over here is the panel that we now own, and you can see they've gone up definitely from 2010. The panel value has also gone up, so from the original 2, and then you have the fresh value, so which is still the one that we initially came in with, and then you have your allowance, which is what you're allowed up to sell. Power generated in here, and your reward balance, what they are currently at, the levels. Then you have the compounding data, cooldown status, so that has just gone open, which means that we can now go in and update this, and you can see the counter is currently, we have rebought 8 times, and 8 times in total. So bonus tier is 3 and total bonus here. So basically what that means is that if we want to go over and buy, so what we can do is we can add the money in here and then basically buy panels. If we are not interested in this, we have to go down and compound our rewards. And there we have the slider for this. So the 2.0295 BNB, if we slide it all the way over here to 100%, then we'll have the same amount here. If we do it the other way, or 50%, you can see it changes all the way through. So in this particular case, we might as well do an update now that we're doing the video here. So we compound the full rewards. It will open up our MetaMask. You'll see the gas fees that are involved in this. We click confirm, and then it will just take a short moment. So go through the details, and then the counter should update to 9 here. We should go to tier 3, and then the total bonus will go up to 4.5 from the additional. And that's what happened here. So successfully done. And the cooldown time is now counting down again. We see the counter of 9, the tier 3 bonus, 4.5% on top of this. So everything works as advertised. So the last part I just wanted to introduce you to is the homepage of High Tech Investment, where we basically are putting this video also. So by the time that comes out, you will find it here. And you'll see the initial first video we made from what is now known as the version 1. So it will still give you good details on who is behind the company and a bit on the platform itself and some of the certificates. At the same time, there's also a whale talk in here, and that was actually discussions on how to build and set up version 2. So we have left this one in here. This one is the panel currently, so for the version 1, but a lot of the information that we have and what it basically goes to is the Solarverse casino in the Metaverse itself. There's a couple of videos down here that you can then familiarize yourself with. And then we're going to make some changes to the platform itself, because the solar status details, as we have here, is only for the version 1. So now the setup and the compounding and the percentage is obviously different, as I just showed you here. But obviously we want to cover both versions since we are still very much in both of them. And then at the same time, you can sign up here. So with Solar Farm, so you can also use your phone to scan this one in. Doesn't matter if you want to be in version 1 or version 2. You can use the same link, and obviously you'll support this channel by doing so, and we will very much appreciate that. And again, just a reminder here, so how to get started and the wallets that can be connected in order to do this. We have the MetaMask one, sorry. And then obviously also a bit on the compounding. There's people that have different ways of doing this. So some saying, okay, 6 days and then 1 day of profit. Other ones go 29-1. We will have to see which one works the best. But obviously you need to get to a certain point where you can get the additional 15% on top of the 14. So you get very close to 30% overall in total. Then on top of this, we also have a couple of articles. So these ones are the first two here, is covering the version 1. And this is Solar Farm 2 information also from the developers. And part of that information has gone into this tutorial also. Last but not least, obviously it's always important that no matter what you hear from our side here, so we are not financial investors, we are just showing you our travel on what we invest in. You have to do your own due diligence. You are responsible for your own investments. We're all adults in here. On top of this, we obviously have a couple of downloadable for the farm audit for the tokens, and also some frequently asked questions. Right now, all these are still for version 1. There is nothing for version 2. And that's obviously why we are also doing this tutorial, to make sure that you know as much as possible. There's a range of links for the different Telegram groups, for Twitter, Discord, the YouTube channels. And then we also have put in the crypto exchange that currently supports the Solar Farm tokens, which is PancakeSwap and CN token. So we hope that this will provide you enough information to see if you are interested in going forward with Solar Farm or not. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. So we try to give you a quick rundown of this new platform. We are quite excited about it. So we can definitely see some great possibilities, definitely because not only the solar tokens is something that we just compound and hope for the best. It is actually linked together with the Metaverse casino, and they're going to start off with slot machines, poker in different paces. And that will, part of that profit will come also back to the mining community. And that's why we believe that this is a long-term thing that can be sustainable. And we're also happy to see that they have made some changes, the developers themselves, to make sure that the sustainability and also the profitability of this mining project hopefully will last for a very, very long time. So if you like this, please give us a thumbs up, and also subscribe to the channel. Make sure you have the notification bell on, so if we send something out next time, you will definitely know about it as one of the first. So I hope you will have time to look through the video, enjoy it, and by all means, we are always happy to hear back on anything you have to say on the Solar Farm project. So I hope to see you on the next video. Bye bye.